Three for the Money is brought to you by the Trend Center app. This is the best tool for sports betting research. The Trend Center app, you can test betting systems from the past 20 years, explore thousands of existing trends and systems from top betting experts, choose from hundreds of filters to test different systems for each sport. Save these trends and get notified when their systems have games. Download the app and use our code TFTM for 15% off a premium membership after a 2-day free trial. Okay. We're here. We're back. It's Three for the Money. New episodes every Thursday, and the college basketball is over. First of all, brought to you by the Trend Center, the greatest app tools thing on the planet for sports bettors. The MLB season is almost in full swing. We're not in the meat potatoes of the season, but we're getting off to a hot start. I need to double check the verified trends before we exit today's podcast, just to give an update on that. I know it's been going pretty well. But we'll touch on that later. Definitely check out the Trend Center app. Link in the description. 15% off of a premium membership. But college basketball is officially over. The winners are the Florida Gators. In I don't know whether to call it heroic fashion or Houston choking fashion, but we'll get into that here in a second. Chris, how are you doing today?
I'm all right, I guess. There's just no college basketball on anymore, and that makes me sad. And also double sad that Houston just choked. Houston money line down the toilet. Houston plus 600 future along with it. It was I was so sad. That was like the saddest I've been for like a non-Vols or one of my teams lost in a while. That that really sucked. So not doing great. But trying to turn around betting on baseball. So yeah, doing all right. But we're hanging in there. Just about talking with the boys, so it's not that bad. So
All right. Sean,
how
how
are
are
you doing,
you?
Sean?
Yeah, Chris, I'm kind of in the same boat. If the listeners don't know at home, I have a job where I have to get up very early in the morning. So unfortunately, I did not get to witness the national championship game. I checked the score before I went to bed. Houston was up by 11, I believe, at one point, and I was like, "Oh, I can go to bed easy," and I just drifted off to sleepland. And I woke up at 3 a.m. I was like, ooh, time to check this, time to check this account. Account was empty. Hated that. I was also riding the Houston plus 600 and Houston money line, along with the over. But the over really never had a chance, really. It was more about that was a respect bet. If you bet an under in a championship game, no matter if it wins, you're a loser. Let's just put it that way. But yeah, I went back and watched the last couple minutes of that game, and I felt like I was in the moment. I felt like I felt the sadness just slip away, or I felt the happiness just slip away, even though I already knew that they lost. So, but whatever. I've been riding the verified trends on Trend Center. Y'all should really hop on those because they are white hot right now. So just throw a unit, half unit on each one of them. You're you're in the green. Keeping my picket alive, I will say.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, the
Um,
the verified trends have been the only thing keeping me out of the poorhouse because I'll take like a couple of those and like, oh, I'm smart enough to make my own bets without the trend center. Um, I don't think I am anymore. I suck. So shout out to the Trendsetter for just keeping me above water for the time being. So yeah.
Right. Yeah, I didn't really bet on the Final Four except for the championship game. Um, but everybody was on Houston money line in the group chat, and I was like, well, I mean, I have to. Um, but it did kind of fall into that pitfall of nobody, at least in our circle, really wanted to see Florida win it all. And when everyone is on one side, that's a pretty telltale sign that you got a loser on your hands. And but at the same time, I mean, Houston they choked that game away. They were up by 12 at one point. Like this is ridiculous. This is the national championship game. You may never get back here. You know, you've been a one, two, three seed. You've been a high seed for the past couple of years, but this was your shot. Uh, it's not impossible to make it back, but it's not gonna be easy. But that's next year's story, and now we're kind of moving on to I don't know, the NHL is winding down, the NBA is winding down. Um, really haven't paid attention to the NBA at all, um, except for the hilarious stories, like Anthony Edwards wanting to pay all 18 years of child support all at once. I don't know if you guys heard about that. Um,
Can you do that? Is that legal?
I don't
Sure,
know. I,
sure.
Like that's what I was thinking. I was like, yeah, why can't he? Like, is he's paying it?
Like
Like, why
if you
can't he?
pay,
It's like buying a car. Like
uh,
you can just pay for the car in its entirety up front.
yeah, I
yeah,
don't see why you can't pay for 216 months of child support just up front.
yeah. I mean, I don't see a problem with it either. It's just very not the norm, you know?
No, it's not the
This
norm
is what I'm saying.
because well, I think most, child support people who pay child support often rely on the just monthly basis. Like they don't often pay the whole thing up front. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah, for sure.
so it's not financially viable for most people. But Anthony Edwards, God forbid, you can do that. I'm pretty sure you can do that.
Good for him.
Hey,
Yeah,
more
he
power
made the
to
bag.
him. Um,
And honestly, it's out of his hands, and it's up to the mother on how she chooses to spend that child support.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, I
I
mean
mean,
I'm not throwing no shade.
no, I
It's
know.
very
Yeah,
outside of the norm, and
but
it's
sure.
low key funny, but also pretty smart because it's like I think your child support payments are based off of the money you make, and you know if he's probably going to get a big ass contract um, after the one he's currently on, which he's going to make more. So if he pays
He's
all of it
playing
up
3D
front,
chess.
yeah, this is 3D chess level move.
Yeah.
Um, but I mean, I just thought that was funny. But that's like a couple of weeks old. Um, shit. I mean, we're kind of I don't know. We're getting into the playoffs of both the NHL and the NBA. Haven't really followed the NBA, like I said, because from like what I'm hearing, it's like the teams that like don't even have a chance, like aren't even putting up any sort of fight. And
Yeah.
why
I mean,
would you?
that's yeah, that's how it usually is.
But also like I don't know, it feels like the dudes that are on NFL teams that are knocked out pretty early, like still kind of battle because you're always battling for your next contract. Um, that's the way I see it, but it's just kind of like in a sort of a betting sense, it's like you can't really tell what you're gonna get from it unless both of the teams are a playoff team, which, you know, can be good, can be bad, but it's, incredibly difficult to predict.
Did
And
you hear
then
about
with
John Moran?
NHL,
Oh, sorry.
oh yeah, John, let's talk
Hitting
about John.
hitting that hitting the game winner in front of Abella Danger. Is that what we're talking about?
Well, that it was awesome, but no.
I didn't know that one.
So yeah,
Yeah.
that was a
Yeah.
few days ago, a week ago. I don't
Yeah,
remember,
that
but
was
yeah, I
like
saw that.
I think that was like Saturday.
Yeah.
I think yeah, I saw it Sunday morning. But yeah.
But so we all know Jaw has a not great history with weapons off the court.
What? What are you
Yeah, I
talking
know.
about?
Breaking news. He got suspended or not suspended, fined recently for um doing like a celebration where he was simulating brandishing a weapon. Very it wasn't like he like looked like he had a shotgun and he was pointing it at the Warriors bench. But he got
Very
suspended
cool.
or not suspended, he got fined for that. So last night they're playing the Hornets, I think. He hit a shot and he simulated throwing a grenade into the crowd.
Golly.
This guy's the best.
Yeah, that's
I mean, if he can't do it on Instagram Live, like you might as well just do it when you're on, TNT.
I hope like I hope he doesn't get fined for that, but it would be funny if he keeps getting fined for doing these and he just keeps upping like the ante of the weapon. Like next he
Next
has
he
like
has
a
a bazooka.
bazooka. Yeah.
Yeah.
This guy's hilarious.
right. And then for some odd reason, and I only noticed because I get the ESPN alerts, but a bunch of the playoff teams are firing their coach. What is do we know anything why that is this is happening?
Well, the Grizzlies fired Taylor Jenkins like a week or so ago. They're a 6 seed, 5, 6 seed right now. Um, don't know why they did that. And then yeah, a couple days ago or yesterday, might have been yesterday, the Nuggets fired Mike Malone, which they're a 4 seed. They won the title 2 years ago. They have the
Yeah.
best player on the planet. What the hell is going on? Like I know he's very much like he's a hard ass, and I think he's kind of butted heads with a lot of the players, but who gives a shit? You're a
Just
4 seed. He I saw he has the most wins, like kind of by a lot of all active NBA coaches in the last 5 years. Like again, you won a title 2 years ago. You could have a decent chance of doing it again this year. No, we don't need one of those pesky head coaches. Get out of here. Like what? Like I don't care
Yeah,
if he's a hard ass. Like if you're gonna fire him, at least wait till after the season.
right. Having it be
it's a
like
very
a
odd
couple of
move.
weeks before the playoffs, it's
And they fired the GM too. So like there were reports that like him and the GM were butting heads over like who should be getting playing time and stuff like that. It's like, okay, well, that's obviously not why he got fired because then you fired the GM. So I don't know what the hell is going on. And honestly, I kind of just blows up in their face. I hope they go out first round.
yeah. But Jokic is awesome.
He is awesome, but he doesn't. He's got his money. He's got his ring. He's probably
And
just counting down the days until he can retire.
until he
Well,
can
he's got
go
to go
back
take
to
care of his
Serbia
horses.
with the horses.
I would have
Yeah.
retired right after if I were him. Just, I mean, he's got very many millions of dollars. I don't know what his contract is exactly. Won a title. Yeah, just fuck off. Go back to Serbia. Raise your horses. Who he doesn't like basketball.
He certainly doesn't like winning uh the whole thing.
Oh,
That
he was.
whole that whole championship circuit had him in a pretzel, which was one of the most hilarious things I've ever seen from a professional athlete, but God bless him.
When they asked him about the parade, you're like, when is parade? He's like, Thursday.
Oh, God damn it.
Gotta go home, man.
I have to see horses.
Love that guy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
shout out Joker.
Yeah.
But
Big fan of the show. Um
can I Can we go back to college basketball real quick though?
Of course.
Yeah.
Because I think it is kind of hilarious how Duke had Zion and Cooper Flag, and they couldn't do anything. They couldn't get there. It's pretty comical.
If
Yeah.
you, oh, okay.
I I think I have a point here that Chris can sort of expand on. I think the problem with Duke is since they're such a highly touted program, they get a lot of one and dones, and that's kind of I don't know. That's just kind of my take. Maybe that's not too pertinent, but I mean, Chris, do you have anything to add? I mean,
I mean, yeah, that definitely goes into it. Um, yeah, you're not able to build a whole lot of continuity when you just have a revolving door of NBA talent coming through, and that's kind of what Kentucky's problem was. Um, Towards the end of Cal's reign, on top of Cal just being a terrible coach. But it is weird how they haven't been to a title game in 10 years, I think. And
Yeah, it's been a
they've
long
had,
time.
I saw like a tweet that had like the list of just players they've had on the teams in the last 10 years. And it's like, how can you not go to a title game? Like winning, like that's obviously very hard to do, but make one championship appearance over 10 years when you constantly have the best players, it is shocking. Especially because say what you will about Coach K, like he's an asshole, like off the floor and stuff like that. He's a phenomenal coach. He's probably the
Oh,
best to ever do it. John Shire is fine, or he's very good, but for Duke standards, we'll see. But I don't. It's very weird how they just can't seem to get there. It's also part of it, at least this season. The ACC was god awful, so they hadn't played a team on their truly on their level since November, and like when you're not tested at least a couple times in conference play, like yeah, they lost to Clemson, but it's like you're gonna lose at some point. But they all their games they're blowing people out for the most part. So when you're hardly ever tested, when you get punched in the face, you're kind of just like, oh shit, what do we do now?
I just got punched in the face.
Yeah, like oh, I'm not used to this. Also, they don't have or this year they didn't have a point guard. That
Yeah.
makes no
I
sense.
heard that. Yeah. That's kind of important. Um,
Like you're getting like gut check time against a very, very physical defense like Houston. You're giving the ball to, granted, he's a fantastic player, one of the best Duke's ever had, to a 17-year-old forward bringing it up the floor in Cooper Flag, who's kind of proven to not be clutch at all. Some shit could happen, and some shit
mhm.
did happen. So that's obviously looking at it hindsight 2020, but it's not shocking to how this year at least they didn't make it.
Hmm.
yeah.
Um,
And just what a collapse, you know, from
Yeah,
their Houston game.
and then
Like,
he,
I mean, Cooper Flag like just completely missed that jump. Like, just
I mean, he
uh,
pissed down his leg the last
yeah, like
7 minutes or so. The whole
lights were
team
like too bright for him almost. Um,
too bright for the
I
whole
just
team.
yeah,
Honestly,
I just
no one.
think it's kind of funny, like how they. I think I did see that tweet as well that you were talking about, and it is like it is a long list of notable basketball players and how they just can't get to they can't even get to the final. Like it's almost
Yeah,
comical, almost. It's a little sad,
no,
but
I love it.
yeah,
I fuck dude, it's hilarious.
sure, okay. Many people feel that way,
Yeah,
I will say, but
I
this,
didn't hate. I didn't hate this Duke team. I'll say it. They were a lot of when they were rolling. They were fun to watch. I still didn't like them. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying I was a fan, but I didn't have the same level of hatred as I did in like the Coach K years because I didn't have like they had their white kids, but they were like just good. They were just good basketball. They weren't jackasses like Grayson Allen and guys like that kicking people in the dick. They were
yeah,
just balling.
mhm.
well, hell
Yeah.
yeah. Well, that's all I really had.
Yeah.
But
Yeah. It was Houston coming back to win that game was awesome. You know,
That, yeah,
that was madness. And I
yeah.
mean, so was so was the championship game. That was madness. So,
Houston Duke at least felt like it was a good game. Like it was a good basketball game. Yeah, like Duke obviously choked, but it felt like it was a visually entertaining for the most part game. Florida Houston, it was close. It was like entertaining down the stretch just because it was like one possession game for most of the final few minutes. That game sucked. Like, let's be honest.
yeah, that game was a little bit of a rock fight, definitely. Like
Yeah.
even at the point where they were up by 12, it's like that was a tough 12, you know? Um,
Yeah, and it never felt like yeah, they were up 12, but and obviously this has to do with Florida just being really good, but it never felt like Houston was like, all right, they got it. Like they can just kind of, which maybe they felt like that. That's why they blew it. But as I was watching it, it didn't feel like they were up 12.
yeah. I mean, watching it
Just
and they were up 12, I was like, all right, I might be able to go to bed now. But this is the championship game, so I'm not going to go to bed. Um, but yeah, I mean that's kind of it. Um, now we're getting down. When's the draft? When's the NFL draft? Is that like at the end of this
a
month?
couple weeks.
Couple weeks?
It's I think it's at the end of this month.
Is
Yeah.
it the 24th?
Uh,
Yeah,
Or
it's the
yeah.
24th through the
Yeah.
26th.
is that a Thursday?
Yeah.
Yeah. Starts Thursday, goes through Sunday.
All right.
Damn, you just pulled a day of the week
Yeah. How did you know that?
how'd you do that?
Well, if you must know, it's because WrestleMania is April 19th and 20th, and that's a Saturday, Sunday. And then Sunday plus 4 is Thursday.
Sunday plus that was great.
You know, it just
Sun, Sunday
oh,
plus 4 is
I'm gonna start doing that.
makes it, you
Well,
know what I
today's
mean?
Monday, plus
No,
four.
yeah, I've just never heard it like laid out like that. Sunday plus 4.
I mean,
You're right. I'm
yeah,
not saying you're wrong. It's just a funny way of explaining it.
yeah. And then, you know, my fiance's birthday is the 19th. So, um, that
Right.
too.
Hitler's birthday is the 20th.
Yeah,
That's cool.
that's
Some
day two
history
of
for
That's
WrestleMania.
you.
really yeah. Only real history buffs know that.
Yeah, it's true.
The cool ones. Um, April 20th. But yeah, I mean, like, I think we're getting into, you know, peak like Stephen A. and Shannon Sharp rhyming things to say Lakers in
Oh,
five.
That's not
well,
Which,
peak.
truthfully, do love those memes. It's incredibly entertaining. What is it, Chris?
well, before I go into the latest Stephen A. Shannon kerfuffle, we need to talk about Ovi
Yes,
895.
yes.
Yeah. Will and I have a little bit we're gonna do, or not. It's not a joke bit, but it's a question.
Okay.
So I guess we can go into that now.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Okay.
So
yes, Alexander Ovechkin, greatest goal scorer of all time.
Yeah, definitely.
yeah,
What's the question?
Okay, the question is that the NHL Network panelists came out with their Mount Rushmore of NHLers. Does Ovechkin deserve to be on the Mount Rushmore?
Yeah, I don't see how you.
See, I think you can make the case that he can respectfully be left off, though. I do agree that it feels wrong to have the all-time leader in goals off of Mount Rushmore, but when you have players like Wayne Gretzky, Gordie Howe, uh, Lemieux, who's the other one, Will?
Bobby Orr.
Bobby Orr, yes. Like when you have players like that, it's like it's hard to replace one of those with Ovechkin.
I I mean, I'm not a hockey whiz, so someone could probably easily poke holes in this argument. But I would put him in over Lemieux just because Lemieux's career, like he was incredible, don't get me wrong, his career wasn't that long. And Ovi's has spanned 2 decades and he's the all-time leader in goals. I think he deserves. I'm not saying Lemieux isn't one of the greatest of all time, but I think if we're talking the four best, I would put Ovi in over Lemieux.
See,
Where
that was my point uh last night when we were talking about this. Because I feel like Wayne obviously has to be on
Mm-hmm.
there.
Yeah,
Like that is like a given. Uh, Gordie Howe, I feel like has to be on there. That man played feels like into his 70s. Like
yeah,
Bobby Orr, probably the greatest defenseman of all time. Like you have to have a D on Mount Rushmore. So it does kind of come down to like Lemieux versus Ovi. And it does feel wrong to leave the all-time leader in goals off of the amount of dollars.
yeah. I'm in the Lemieux camp just because his career was shorter than most. Um, but he's what he did in that short span is incredible. Like, if you
Yeah.
really look at the numbers, his points per game is higher than Wayne Gretzky's. And Wayne wasn't like a pushover when he was, getting to the end of his career. Like he wasn't putting up like bad numbers, but when you kind of look at it objectively, it's like if Lemieux, uh, I all right, a little
Sorry.
bit of a
Sorry.
casualty on the panel here.
Yeah. Coffee.
But
It's
if you
fine.
look at it objectively, if Lemieux didn't get cancer, like he would be the all-time leader in points. Like that's, I mean, I can't say that that's a fact, obviously, because it didn't happen. But it's kind of like when you look at it objectively, he has a higher points per game than Wayne Gretzky, and like even when he came back from when he had cancer, he was still dominant. Like it's it's incredibly hard. I don't not respect if you put Ovi on there instead of Lemieux. Um, like I fully get it, but like in terms of mine, it's kind of like that's what I got because I mean, still to this day, people are like, "Who's the greatest?" And everyone says Wayne, but if you ask someone for Pittsburgh, they always say Lemieux because
oh,
Lemieux's,
yeah.
I mean, bias aside, like the numbers support that claim. Um, and then even everyone who says Wayne is the best, Lemieux's number two. Like that's kind of like you're like already in the conversation of top two players of all time. That's that's just the way I see it. Um, but yeah, that's kind of what me and Sean got into last night. Um, but yeah.
One thing I heard someone say, I think it was on TV, I forget who it was exactly, said if like take out the COVID year and then what year was the lockout shortened season?
2003.
Well, there was a somewhat more recent one, wasn't there? Like in the last 10, like 10 or 15 years.
I want to say maybe 2008, 2007, maybe. I don't remember.
Yeah, I thought there was one. It's like
I
if
can
you
look it
take
up while
the
you talk.
okay,
2012, 13.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I was gonna say I thought it was in the teens or, but yeah, yeah. If you say like they played those seasons in full, Ovi could have well over 1,000 goals.
Oh, for sure, yeah.
So And
I'm
I don't want to be playing like the what if game because obviously shit happens. But like that's just wild. Like he could have done this 3 years ago
yeah.
if it wasn't
I
for
mean,
a pandemic and a lockout shortened season.
yeah. I mean, honestly, if we play the what if game, we could be here all night.
Oh yeah,
Like,
yeah.
well, what if Ovi and Wayne played at the same, you know what I mean? Like we could play this game, but we have to be realistic about it, you know? Like
Hmm.
Okay, so
we have to have what they did
yeah,
and what their accomplishments are. So,
Yeah, I mean, I
so
so
think I think he scored this like one more goal, um, Ovechkin in in the
one less
same
game.
amount of
one less game.
games. At
I
one
think it
less
was one
game.
less, wasn't it? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a fact, and that's great on its own. Um, the only I mean, the only asterisk I can think of when you put that, I mean, I don't know if the NHL was always 82 games back in the 80s, but the only asterisk that you could, I guess, put in Ovechkin's favor is, I mean, like halfway through the 2000s, they they got rid of uh, the the games ending in ties. So, and they had a over. Wait a minute, no, they just added the shootout, and those aren't
Yeah.
statistics. Never
No.
mind. Yeah, sorry.
They've
They
had
always had
82
overtime.
games. They've had 82 games since 95.
Okay, so I mean, I guess he's had more chances to score, but it's still the same amount of games, you know?
Yeah.
Am I making sense?
Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
definitely.
Yeah.
I mean, when they moved to 82, they moved from 82 to 80 or 80 to 82.
Oh, well, that's
They
Yeah.
did. I thought it was 70. I mean,
No, I did just look it up. Um, they haven't played 70 games since like the 50s, like
okay.
55.
fucking really? Yikes.
Yeah.
Okay. Don't
All
know
right.
puck, I guess.
I mean,
Thanks,
that's a
Google.
so it's like to bring it back to the Mount Rushmore thing. When I think of Mount Rushmore, it's like who are the best players, you know? Like not just the best, you know. Like Wayne's not on there because he's the greatest playmaker. Although if he never scored a goal, he
Mhm.
would still be the all-time leader in points, which is a stupid stat. Um, that's something that nobody will fucking touch. Um, but um, so it's kind of like that's just like kind of like the way I see it. Like all of the players are like lots more like well-rounded. Um, and I mean like Bobby Orr revolutionized the defenseman position. And like if you look at his numbers, holy shit. Like he was scoring 100 points like every season for like 6 or 7 straight seasons as a defenseman, and that's insane. Um, but uh, but yeah, I mean that's kind of my take. And if nobody else has anything to add, I can transition this back to Stephen A. and Shannon Sharp. Okay.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, I hold on real
okay.
quick.
Sorry. All right.
No, you're good.
Okay.
So the NHL network, their analysts, pretty much all have consistent. It's Wayne and Bobby. That's like they're consistent. Um, Corey Schneider has Wayne, uh, Martin Brodeur, Lemieux, and Bobby Orr, which he's the only one that has Martin Brodeur on his list, which could be fair, I guess. He's really got them all. You know,
I get
he's
it.
got all positions covered.
I get it.
But
I do have kind of a thought about that, but I might go off on a tangent. So just keep going.
but yeah, Gordie Howe is pretty consistent in these. He's in 5 out of the 6 as well. So,
He's Mr.
but
Hockey.
Yeah.
The sport was
I
named
mean,
after. People forget
he
that.
he does have a hat trick named after him. So,
That, yeah,
but the only ones that really intertwine or like are interchangeable are Ovi and Lemieux. So it's very on the fence for me. I'm very on the fence about who should be on there.
Hmm. Yeah, that's
Let's
I
just add
mean,
another president to Mount Rushmore and we'll have this problem solved.
think about all the arguments, all the Mount Rushmore arguments you could have about everything if they added one
They
more.
just added one more, dude. Be easy.
we
Like, all
could
right,
do that. We have the technology.
Yeah.
who's the number five uh ketchup brand? Uh
I
who's the
couldn't
number
even
five?
name three if I'm being perfectly honest.
who- What's the number five ranked um left-handed pitcher? I don't know.
You got it. You got it.
Whatever. Whatever. You know what I mean. Um all right, back to what I was saying. First, I just want to say that I love that PK Subban is on like First Take or the like these whatever the hell these morning talk shows are called nowadays. Because I don't watch them. I have a fucking job. So, um, I love it because like he actually like knows hockey because he was a hockey player and yeah, they brought it up like the day after Ovi got the record, and they were like, who was more feared in the playoffs, or just like a more feared individual? Or wait, no, it was who's the most durable, LeBron or Ovi? And PK just gave a masterclass on why Ovi is way more durable than LeBron James, and Stephen A. and Shannon were just not having it. When it's pretty clear that like he's only missed 35 games in 20 years of being in the NHL. LeBron James has missed quite a number more. And injuries happen and I get it, but when you talk about durability, it's like that's that's it, That's it. Chris?
I don't know if this goes into like his durability, but more of like his just overall toughness. Alexander Ovechkin broke his leg this year,
Oh
and
yeah,
he
he did do that.
and he came back and scored and broke the record. I think that alone, again, I don't know if that makes him more durable because I guess if you're more durable, you would just never get hurt. But it makes him more just of like a competitor, like a bad motherfucker by
Hmm.
like broke his fucking leg this year and he broke the all-time goal record. That's insane.
Yeah. Oh wait,
But
the uh the conversation was what's more impressive, LeBron's scoring title or Ovi's
they had the
scoring
durable one
title?
too. I
Yeah, they had the
didn't
durable one
watch
too.
either. I just saw the clips on Twitter. I refused to watch them because the first take just hurts my head these days. I
Yeah,
just can't do it anymore. I'm too old for that.
yeah, and
And
like
I
the
mean, oh,
I think both of those kind of went into each other
mhm.
because I mean clearly like both of those like titles are it took them their entire career and they're fucking 40 like and so it is kind of like what is a bigger deal, I guess, and durability is kind of a factor in that, but it's just like dude, when you talk about the longevity of each player's career, like yeah, LeBron takes care of his body and shit like that, but when it comes down to the games that are being played, like hockey by definition is way more physical and Ovi's the one dishing it out, but he's also, taking it because he's Ovechkin. He's a star. Like that's just what happens to the stars.
Yeah.
And like they just weren't having it. Like Stephen A and Shannon, they just weren't listening.
Well, I mean, because I think I've seen more hockey games this season, like 4 than Stephen A's seen his entire life. So he just doesn't give a shit. You could probably say the same thing for Shannon, and Shannon's just a LeBron meat writer. But um, I'm just very glad that they decided to tackle the issue of how Ovi breaking Wayne Gretzky's record affected LeBron's legacy. Hats off to them.
Well, it
Grade
has
A.
to, right? It
Like
has
they,
to. It has to impact his legacy somehow.
uh,
Yeah,
Everything does.
that's an excellent point, Chris.
I hate them. I hate first take so fucking much. It's the worst.
How does Alexander Ovechkin's goal scoring record impact LeBron's legacy?
They did that,
It
essentially
did
did
it.
that. Like that's been a meme for since we were like in high school. I've pretty much, but they find like they actually did it. I
Yeah,
love it.
yeah. But I do want to say, hats off to PK. Um, I mean, just laying it out there. I mean, it's all factual. I mean,
Yeah,
Yeah,
hockey's a physical game.
he did that earlier this year too, where he went on first take and kind of shat all over him,
Oh yeah,
and
yeah,
doing
was just,
the Four Nations.
yeah,
yeah,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
where like wasn't his argument is like these guys don't miss games. Like that was is another like durability kind of thing. Wasn't that his argument as well?
It was something like that. Like
That was
a,
part of it.
it felt like he was more just saying they have more like heart and like dedication to the game than he didn't obviously come out and say that, but it felt like that he was kind of dancing around that point.
Yeah. Well, it was like a 13-minute rant, like yeah,
I mean, he's
uninterrupted.
right. Yeah.
Yeah, he is right. He's not wrong. It is it is sad that I did look it up that LeBron has missed 169 games in his NBA career. Uh,
Which is still great,
yeah,
for that long of a
but
career.
71 in his first 15 seasons and 98 in the last five. So you can really tell that time is taking a toll on the man
Yep.
for sure.
Yep.
But
Yeah. It's just like NBA players,
Ovi's
they just
still out
don't
there, bro.
care as much.
Yeah. Uh, well, I mean, it makes sense a little bit because, if you're with the Charlotte Hornets,
Fair.
what are you playing? What are you playing for? You know what I mean? Like, what are you
Fair.
doing? You're
Yeah.
just bad chasing.
Yeah. That first 3 months is pretty good, but then after that it's like, all right. We don't have
Yeah.
we know who we are. We don't have to we don't have to, I guess, try as much, but and you hate to say that, but
Yeah.
it's
And
kind of true.
I think the NBA, I think Silver's talking about shortening the games as well to 40 minutes.
Okay.
Who cares? Like, what's that gonna do?
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't think
I think they're hoping to get more eyes on it because,
our
to watch
game.
a 60-minute game takes 3 hours. Uh, shave it down to two, I guess.
I feel like every sport, I get like for the most part, takes roughly 3 hours.
Yeah, it does.
It's like what do we do?
Yeah,
Like
I don't know.
you can't sit on the couch and watch TV for 3 hours.
God, no.
You can do it for a hell of a lot longer than that.
I can do it a lot longer than that. Pretty much kind of did that today. Uh, but yeah, there's a lot of things in the NBA I just don't really care about.
I don't, yeah, I
Yeah,
don't care.
it's
And
just a big,
I can't really say like how they can fix it because I don't watch it. So I couldn't tell you what exactly is wrong with it. I just don't care about it.
Yeah, it's weird. Like I heard someone on a podcast one time, like an NBA player on a podcast one time, talk about players caring, and like there's some statistic where it's like if you are like above the height of 6'5", your chances of making the NBA are like something like 30%, something like that. All you got to do is really like put in the work. but like you have the height, and that's like a big old part of it. It's not all of it. You got to make your shots, but still, it's kind of like when you see that and you're just a dude that's like 6'6", and you're like, I am tall. If I learn how to shoot the ball and dunk it and play this game, someone will draft me. I'll get my college paid for because I'll play college ball. And now with NIL, it's like now I can make a little money doing it, and then I can go to the NBA, make even more money, and yeah, that's kind of it, and it's I don't want to say it's a problem, but it is kind of a problem. But like that dude on that podcast was like, yeah, there is a number of dudes in the league that just don't like they aren't in love with the game of basketball like most of the stars are. But they're great, you know, like maybe a low level starter or like off the bench, and it's kind of like dudes off the bench are making $20 million, and so it's like if you can come off the bench in an NBA game and make a bag, do it, you know.
Yeah,
So
and I was going to say that, like, yeah, like the seventh man off the bench is making generational wealth. Why would you care that much? Like, it's like, okay, I can go out here, kind of just run through the motions. Like, I'm going to play for like 10 minutes, maybe, but I'm still going to get like $20 million. Like, why should I, like, you're paying me already for not giving like 100%. Why should I just start now that you're already paying me?
yeah, it's like from an entertainment product, it's kind of like, dude, you want people to care, you know,
Mm-hmm.
like if you don't care about hockey and you're in the NHL, you're not in the NHL. Like that's just how it works. That's like you have to fucking care. Even if you're a first line player all the way down to the fourth line. It's like your fourth line player, you better care a lot, you know? Like you got to care more.
Because you're not very good. So
Yeah. And so I hate I hate that that's an issue, you know. Um coming from just like a sports fan perspective, but um it's there's also like I think it was JJ Redick. He went on like a podcast and was talking about how people like don't like to watch the NBA anymore because now it's just a 3-point shooting contest. And it's kind of like, well, if you think about it, the league has never been in a place where players just lace up threes. And so like this is not only new for the players but everyone else as well. And it's not a matter of a fact that there's less defense. It's just the players are better at offense. You can only do so much on defense, but there's so many different ways to score the basket. And so it's basketball is in like a weird spot just from like an outsider's perspective, but yeah, it's very hard to care about basketball, about the NBA, that is. Um, and yeah, I mean, we're gonna loosely cover it as the NBA playoffs are going, um, but yeah, I mean, right now it's slowly turning into I mean the NHL season's coming down to the I think we only have like a week or two left and then playoffs start. Um, I mean our team isn't fucking in it, but
I think
uh,
it's less because the last Preds home game was last night.
yeah, like it's probably like next week. I don't know. But we'll loosely cover that as well, along with all the other sports bullshit that we talk about.
I usually watch the NHL playoffs,
Yeah,
even if the
because
Preds aren't in it, because
yeah,
they usually get
Because
bounced
they're
first round anyway. So
right.
they're
And
better.
I do have 2 units on the Oilers to win the Stanley Cup that I placed like at the beginning of the season. So I do have something to watch. And Chris, was that like the Houston loss? Was that like the closest you've had to a future, like
yeah,
coming down to the wire?
yeah, I don't think I've ever place of future and have my team and have that team even make the championship, really even get close. I'm not really like a huge futures guy. Like usually I'll take a few. Like I'll do some of the tournaments because it's fun, but like I never really do like season long. I'll do like win totals in college football, but I don't really do like championship futures. But of like the 5 or 6 I've ever placed, yeah, that was far and away the closest I've ever come to hitting one.
Yeah.
Anyways,
It hurts, don't it?
that was brutal, man. That, like I said, I was legitimately like upset over that.
Yeah.
It it
It, w-
sucked.
it was pretty brutal last year when the Oilers
Yeah,
like was almost completed a reverse sweep and made it to game 7 and then lost. That was that was very, very difficult. That team, especially last year, like that team, they were like one of the last teams in the NHL last year, and then like they just went on a monster heater and made the playoffs, made the finals, lost the first 3 games, and then won the next 3 games,
wild.
and then lost in game 7. That was a that's the definition of a roller coaster.
Have you seen? I'm sure you have seen the video of like the Oilers locker room after they lost Game 7.
Yeah, I mean, I saw a little clip of it, and I know that it's like some TV series that's on Amazon
Mm-hmm.
Prime, I think, that I keep forgetting to watch.
Called Game
But
7.
yeah,
Oh, is it really?
Yeah.
I didn't know that. I knew it was a TV thing. I didn't know what it was.
Yeah, it's
there
called
was
Game
some
7.
Amazon Prime thing that came out that followed like Connor McDavid, I think like Austin Matthews, like Philip Forsberg, Pasternak, and a couple other NHLers, and it followed them for like the whole season, and then went in and out as the season progressed. But yeah, that's that's something I keep forgetting that it exists and that I need to watch. Um, but yeah, uh, I mean, do we have anything else? I mean, how's baseball, Chris?
Uh,
All right.
Trend
I
Center
mean,
makes it
it's
fun.
yeah. Yeah. Again, thank you, Trend Center, for like I said, keeping my head above water. But yeah, I've not been great betting wise. But at least the Reds are entertaining. They suck. Um, I can't remember if we
Yeah.
talked about this last time. Um, I think it was about this time last week. The Reds were on a historic losing streak. They had lost. They were the second team since 1920 to lose 3 straight games, 1-0.
Ah,
Well, they've had
ah,
Mm-hmm.
worse historic losing streaks.
Oh,
Let's be
yes,
clear about that.
they have. But to not
Yeah.
when they lost 20 whatever that was in a row a few years ago, they were at least scoring some runs in these losses. Not very many, but at least
Mhm.
1, 2, hell, sometimes even 3. I mean, to lose 3 straight, they went 36 innings without scoring a run.
It's rough.
that's
They were like a few away from the record.
Jesus.
What's the record?
That's rough.
I think it's 38, 39.
Oh wow.
The Cubs set it like way back in like the 60s, I think. I
Mm.
think it was the Cubs. But yeah, it's just they're all right. They're up right now at
They're
time
up
of
by
recording.
one.
Yeah, they were up 5 to
They were
1.
up.
It's
They
6 to
were up
5.
4.
It's a fucking team.
I have the Giants in a money line parlay
I mean,
right now.
they'll probably
Sorry.
win, but I don't care.
The Trend Center pick, and I just parlayed all their money line winners.
Yeah.
They had like
The
3.
the Reds are just they are a means to an end. They are here to keep me somewhat entertained throughout the summer. If you can get me as close to football season while being entertained as possible, that's all I can ask.
And then when you're not, you can watch the league.
Yeah. it's but yeah, love them.
All right. I did remember a story that I don't think either of you guys heard, or you might have heard it, but I'll go ahead and tell it. So did you guys see that Tortorella got fired?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So he he was talking to the GM of the Flyers, and the GM was like, "Do you even want to coach this team?" And he said, "No." And then they fired him. And this came after he got into like a fuck you match with Cam Ward. No, not Cam Ward, Cam York. He was like a young
Yes.
defenseman that the Flyers have. And he got in like a fuck you match, and after he like flubbed a pass in like the first period of a game, because Torts is a psycho. And then like in the intermission, they were yelling at each other, and and Cam York, this isn't a quote, but he said something to the effect of, "At least I'm going to be around here longer than you are." And then he got
Ooh.
benched for, yeah, he got benched for the rest of the game, and then they fired him right after the game, which I think is kind of hilarious.
That is
Damn.
very funny. Do you think he was
Imagine.
ever going to coach again?
Yeah, because I mean,
Just the way
it's
hockey is.
it's a boys' club. It's very tough to break into that, especially when you have, um, all these great college coaches looking to make the next step. But it's just like he's such an old school guy, and I've heard the guys on the Spit and Chicklets podcast, no free shout out. They talk about it. There's like two types of coaches. There's players coaches, and then there's not players coaches, and those are your hard asses. Your players coaches are the guys that you love to play for because they're cool guys, like John Cooper. He's a cool guy, you know. Like after they won the Four Nation Face-Off, John Cooper was just like, "Yeah, man, this is really cool, you know. Glad the players did it, you know. This is a great experience." But it's like, dude, a hard ass coach would just be like, that's like Dan Hurley. Like they're kind of psychos, they're old school. They're gonna bag skate you if you miss a pass, if you give up a 2-on-1. Like and there's always gonna be dudes like that in the NHL, because typically when a player's coach is fired because they're not good, they hire one of these old school guys to come over and take in and whip them into shape. And then if one of the hard ass coaches are fired, they bring in a player's coach to kind of ease them up a little bit, relax them, and put them on the right path. Um,
The vicious cycle.
yes, it is a vicious cycle. So he's not like, he doesn't play like mental warfare with players. From, I mean, I just guess from just like what I've heard, he's just like a hard ass. But I mean, he's not like Babcock or Mike Keenan. Those guys are scumbags. Um, he doesn't do that, which is good. Um, what do you guys think if they fire the Predators coach and we bring in Torts?
No,
No,
no.
not really.
Like,
I do want to say though, I love imagining Cam York just hitting the Jerry from The Last Dance, the like as Torts is walking out, just like
well,
Hmm?
would you look at that?
Look at that. But no, I don't know who's going to replace Burnett. I feel it coming
Yeah, I feel like they're gonna
in
fire
this
him.
in this offseason. I feel it coming.
How
It's kind of
Um,
long?
like when you're this bad, someone has to be fired.
Someone's got to be fired. With the
Yeah.
roster we have, with the money we spent, someone's got to go, and it ain't going to be Barry.
I was about to ask, how long do you think Barry's got? Because I think I respect him for taking a big old swing, but damn, did he miss?
Yeah, I
If
think.
if we're bad
Well,
next
missed
year,
on
then
what?
I
What he
mean,
miss
we
on? The
spent,
players or the coach?
I guess you could say both. Um, I was talking about the players though. I mean, you spent how like the most money of anyone in the league, and you're third from the bottom, I believe.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, Burnett will get fired before Trotz, but I think Trotz has to wear some of this.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
Well, to me, oh, sorry, well, go ahead.
like all the players we signed, they're all like 34. Like 34, 33, 32. Like they're past their kind of prime, you know. Um yeah, and I hate to, talk about players like they're objects, but and not humans, but at the same time it's like, dude, they're the players aren't playing, you know? And that's, partially on the coach, and it's just so weird the way that it's shaking out. Like I hate it because like I went into this season with so much hope. So much hope. Um but it's the hope that kills you,
Mm-hmm.
as we all know as Tennessee sports fans. Um
I don't want to have hope.
yeah.
Costanza. My my goal is to be completely hopeless.
Right. And it's just like Barry's got to wear this, but also like when when the players aren't playing, that's a telltale sign that it's the coach. You know, um, you can't you can't make a bad player a good player, but you can make a good player a great player, and that's how a coach works. Um, and he had great players that a little bit of past their prime, but I mean, Stamkos scored 40 goals last year. You know, um, granted he scored like two last night, but
I was about to ask how many
It
does
was
he have on the
almost
season?
three. He
yeah,
almost got a hat trick last night if it wasn't tipped in.
yeah. And he may not even break 30. Uh, and it's just like the players aren't playing and they're old. And so it's kind of on both of them, but it's, I think this is Barry's first year, if I'm not
Sec.
mistaken.
Well, he was like the. Didn't they bring him in like 2 years ago? But
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
he
yeah,
was
yeah.
like
That
not
was
like
2 years
the
ago.
fish. Was he? I thought it was some sort of like weird transition thing where Poyle was like still kind of around, but Trotz was also there. And I,
He was almost shadowing him.
yeah, I didn't know who was actually the general manager at that time. Um,
Yeah, that
so
was
I don't know if that counts.
they brought in Trotz like a couple of weeks before the trade deadline, and were like, "Hey, this guy's going to take over for Poyle at
Hmm.
the like right after the draft. That'll be his last thing as GM." And so for now, he's just gonna, be with me, and I'm gonna show him the ropes. And then that's when Poyle traded Juno for a laundry list of picks. So it's it's weird. It's kind of like Trotz still has plenty of assets to work with. I mean, we have three first round picks in this next NHL draft. Um, the two extra ones we have aren't that great, because it's Vegas and Tampa. But I mean, as long as neither of them win the cup, maybe one of them goes out first round, then that's going to be like a 16 or 17 number pick, and that's still pretty good.
Yeah. I will say about the players, the players that we signed, they've played in specific systems for a long amount of time, like a tenured amount of time, especially like Stamkos. You
Hmm.
can make the argument for Shea, uh, but he's kind of moved around. Marchessault's obviously moved around, but I don't know if that has anything to do with it as well. Just playing in one system or like a variation of one system. I know coaches and GMs go uh, throughout a player's tenure with the team, but I'm not saying that I think we give Burnett another year, but I feel like that could have been part of like their slump is adapting to a new team. Now, granted, that it has taken them 70 plus games to get over this slump is not cool. Like you're a
Yeah.
professional. You should have probably figured this out with the but also that kind of is like if you don't really have a great coach, then you can't really learn the system the way you need to, I guess.
Was
So
Marshall so he was with Florida before Vegas, right?
it's with Tampa, right?
He was with Florida,
Florida.
but before that he was with Tampa.
Okay.
Yeah.
Did
Okay.
he ever do anything with Florida or Tampa? Like,
Yes.
was he like okay? I didn't know. Because obviously he was left unprotected in the expansion draft, so I didn't know if he was like. I obviously he was good, but I didn't know if he was like this kind of player that he was
So
in Vegas.
so that's a whole other tangent.
We
But
don't have
I
to
mean,
get into
yeah,
it.
he scored 30 goals the year that the season before Vegas took him,
Oh wow.
and
Okay.
they didn't even take Marshall. So this is what Vegas did. They took uh, Florida paid Vegas to take Riley Smith, and they because they threw in Marcia. So yeah,
So it was like a
that's yeah.
Like a
trade
trade?
kind of
It was
for
a trade because
cash
they want
considerations.
like they like Vegas wanted to take someone else that was left unprotected, and they were like, what if we give you these two players instead? They paid
Hmm.
they paid
Interesting.
Vegas March in order for Vegas to take Riley Smith.
When you say they paid them, is this what do you mean?
Like they threw Marshall So in for that, or they
Yes,
gave them money on top. Okay.
Are you talking currency or draft picks or players?
players.
Okay.
Marshall So is the
He's the
paid.
collateral.
Yes.
Yeah. So they wanted to take someone else, and then Florida was like, "How about you take Riley Smith and Marchessault instead?"
That's
Okay.
interesting. I didn't
That's
know
odd.
that. I thought they
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
picked him.
No, that's
Huh.
yeah, and
Interesting.
that happened
You
with a
can have
couple of
both these
different.
guys.
That happened with a couple of different teams where Vegas was paid in like a couple of picks to take this guy instead of this guy um, from a certain team. That they did that a couple of times. Um, but but yeah, I mean, Marchessault, like when you talk about the systems as well, like yeah, they were with like teams for quite a while, but also like you know Shea was in New York as a Ranger, and I don't know how many head coaches he had because he wasn't on the team when they were great, you know. And when the team isn't great, they kind of cycle head coaches. And I mean, Vegas had, I think it took them three different head coaches in order to win the Stanley Cup, and Marchessault was there for all of it. So it is kind of like, yeah, they were in their systems. I mean, Stamkos is really the only one who's been in a consistent system for
Yeah.
years. Um, but uh, but yeah, um, but yeah, we suck. I don't know when the NHL draft is. There's a chance we get the first overall pick. There's a
Yeah.
chance
Yeah.
because we've pretty much locked up the third to last spot. But if we can get the first or second pick, I mean even the third pick, even if we stay, we're gonna get a real good player. Hopefully.
We'll figure it
Um,
out.
yeah. This could be a dumb question. Do we still have that Russian goalie that we drafted a few years ago, like
No.
Askarov or something? Is that his
No, no,
name?
no,
No,
no, no, no, no, no.
I didn't think so.
no, we
Um,
No.
traded him to San Jose
ugh.
for a
This
first round
this
pick.
off season. Yeah.
Okay,
That's
I
why we have three.
thought he wasn't still on the team, but I didn't know for sure. That's a
Yeah,
shame. I
the
really liked him.
Sharks gave up a first round pick that's owned by Vegas.
Okay,
Hmm.
And we got another I mean, that trade was so long ago. We got one of their pretty good prospects.
David Enstrom.
Yes, that's him.
Yeah. Oh, before we go here, because I do have to wrap this up, I was mistaken last week. The Frozen Four begins today, as you're listening to this, Thursday. Um, because I mean, I talked at length about it last week.
Yeah,
Uh, I don't know. I thought it was last week. I don't know
that's.
what I was thinking.
I'll put a hand up on that too because I had like the ESPN app in front of me,
Me
like
too.
being like, "Oh yeah, these games." It says Thursday. Tomorrow is the only Thursday. I remember, like, I think it was last Saturday or something. I was like, "Oh shit! I think the Frozen Four is like it's like going on right now. What happened?" And I go back and check it. Like, oh, we're a week away. Awesome.
Yeah, I was like,
That
I
was
could have
funny.
swore it was this week, but no, it's today as you're listening to this on Thursday. So, um, yeah. So riding with Denver
Go
through
Go
it.
Denver.
Denver.
Let's go Denver.
Let's go Nears.
Yeah. Through a unit on Penn State because they're a fun team, and I think they can beat BU and make it to the championship game. So that's all I got. I'm seeing a bunch of noise about Western Michigan, how they're super hot right now, and could upset Denver. Trying not to think about it, and get in my head about it because it's too late. It's too late. I can't, I can't go back on this. Um, but yeah, I mean, that's all I got. We already did the preview last week, so watch last week's episode for the preview, and then just treat it like this week. Throw a couple units down on Denver and like one on Penn State. Gonna have a good time.
That's what I
Yeah,
did.
hopefully. Um, I mean, do we got anything else before I wrap this up? Yes.
Nah, I got to get going. I
Okay,
got a hockey
I
game
can
later.
do this real quick. Masters start Thursday, so
Yes.
morning. So I got a few. Yeah, hopefully you're watching this before tea times.
All right,
Um,
talk to me.
real quick. These first three are half units. Colin Morikawa to win plus 1600. Colin Morikawa top 10 plus 260. Patrick Reed top 20 plus 210. Half unis. Corey Connors top 30 minus 120 full unit. That's real quick. I'll have some more. Follow the Twitter. I'll post them either early in the morning or tonight. So or Wednesday night, which means nothing to people who are watching this on Thursday, but they'll be posted by the morning. So we'll have a lot more. I'm excited.
Okay.
Damn.
All right.
The A's
Okay.
didn't go over, Chris.
Yeah, I know. Streak ends at 5.
Fuck. That always happens.
Yeah. Well, I saw the total was at 10 today, and I was like, that's too high, but I gotta take it at
Yeah.
that's just because because last night it was 6-5 in the first inning. So I was like, shit, if they can do that in the first, I was like, bats will probably cool off. Total's really high tonight, but I gotta ride with it. And then what was it, 2-1? Was that the final?
I don't know. I just
It
saw
was
it
it was
lost.
2-1 in the ninth. So it
Oh.
was
Great.
probably something. Yeah, wasn't even fucking close.
Yeah. All right, let's wrap it up. See you next week. I got to get going. Got a hockey game.
All right. Thank you so much for listening and watching. Really appreciate it. Check out the Trend Center app, the greatest tool on the planet for sports bettors. 15% off a premium membership. Use the code TFTM at checkout. Yeah, follow us on Twitter for everything. And yeah, we'll see you next week. There's 3 of us. Now let's make some money. Wow.
All right.
Give me a hell yeah.
Colin Morikawa plus